Hi, this is TapCat. Welcome to the first video that I have recorded in over a year. So, why am I uploading a video now after all this time? Well, for starters, when I uploaded my last channel update where I said I was closing it down for good, a couple of people asked if I would be willing to update something roughly a year later and kind of let them know, how I was doing. And if you haven't seen that video, that's certainly more than fine. To briefly cover it, I had plans to move across the country and start a business. And that is why I felt I was not going to have time for a YouTube channel anymore. So how did that go? Well, shortly after that video went live, I don't know, within a month, the whole plan fell apart. So it was something we were very serious about. I had movers coming out and giving us quotes, and we were looking for places to live in the area and everything. And I won't go into all the details, but at any rate, at a certain point, the plug got pulled on that effort. So I did not move. I did not start a business. I stayed in the same house and the same job. And I will not lie, that was at the time a fairly crushing disappointment. But I did my best to make the best of it. And, I can honestly say I'm a lot happier today than I was a year ago. And I don't think everybody can honestly say that. So I'm not going to cry, right? I consider myself lucky on that front. So I did not have the kind of dramatic change that I thought. So why didn't I just start uploading videos again? Well, partly because I realized once I stopped how burned out on doing it I was. Not so much, I think, making videos, but normally in my life, what I'll do is I'll play a game a lot, and then I reach a point where I've finished or I'm tired of it or whatever, and then I do something else. And I don't necessarily always have a video game that I'm playing, let alone multiple video games as I often did when I was running the channel, so that I'd have a good flow of content and some variety for people to watch. And I was playing games that I didn't necessarily love for the sake of having content. Certainly some, like XCOM and Civilization 5. I couldn't think of it for just a second there. I mean, those games are just among my all-time favorites. But there were some others that I was interested in, and I started recording a series, and partway through, you kind of realize this isn't necessarily my favorite game ever. And if I weren't recording a series, I probably would just stop. But once I started a series, that was always a point of pride to me. I didn't want to be one of those guys who would just get viewers interested in something and then quit because I didn't feel like going on anymore. So anyway, I was on this kind of forced march all the time to always have at least one game that I was playing. And by the time I got to late last year, there just really wasn't much of anything that I wanted to play. And I think I just was kind of tired of playing video games in general. I did finish playing Borderlands 2 after I shut down the channel. I had been working on that off and on for I don't know how many months. I would play, like a bit of it and then stop and then come back to it. But so I finished that off, and then I started playing the Tomb Raider relaunch that they did, reboot, whatever you want to call it. And I liked it okay, but like most shooters, I just kind of petered out pretty early on. And then I didn't play video games for a really long time, just nothing at all. And I actually discovered board games, or I should say rediscovered board games, because I used to play them a lot when I was I guess in high school and maybe early college. And I got away from them, and I didn't realize there had kind of been, maybe revolution is too strong of a word, but there's an enormous variety of board games that have come out. And, like any theme you can imagine, and any level of complexity, from very, very simple card games to really deep, thinky, strategic games. And if you've ever watched any of my channels, any of my videos rather, I love strategy games. So I went down that rabbit hole for a long time, and I've actually considered doing content on that, but it's very different to do screen capture on video games than it is to buy a video camera and set up lights and all of that, as you would need to do for board games. So whether I will ever do that, I don't know. And, I'd have to start a new channel probably, because I don't think it meshes well necessarily with this one. But at any rate, not long ago, I actually did kind of come back to video games. I played a game of XCOM for the first time since I recorded my Enemy Within series. Although I went back to Enemy Unknown. That's actually the version I prefer. And 3 months ago, I bought a PS4. I haven't really done a lot of console gaming in many years. But there were two games that kind of finished pulling me in. One was Until Dawn, and the other is Bloodborne. And I really loved them both. I finished Until Dawn, which is, if you're not familiar with it, it's sort of an interactive horror movie. And then Bloodborne has really sunk its claws into me. I've put well over 200 hours into it, finished it 4 times. And, I think I'm kind of approaching the end now. I'm pretty well sated at this point, but I really have enjoyed it. So that's what I've been doing gaming-wise. Now, I think a natural question one might ask is, if I'm going to play video games, would I consider uploading videos to the channel again? Besides this one, I mean. And the answer is yes. I actually am considering that. XCOM 2 is scheduled to come out in February of next year. And if you don't know this already, I will just tell you, my love of XCOM Enemy Unknown is what prompted me to start the channel in the first place. And it's easily one of my favorite games of all time. So I certainly plan on buying XCOM 2 and playing it. And the idea of doing that and then not recording, it just feels wrong to me. So I suppose if I started playing and I just really didn't enjoy it, that might be different. But I am thinking that I will start doing some content for the channel again. And my preference, if I can find interesting things to do, would be to yes, that's fine, I will do Let's Plays, but also try to do other types of content. And the other thing I would also say is, what I probably won't do is ever set myself up where, I'm uploading videos 365 days a year, like every day, at least one video. Because that's kind of how I got myself burned out. I think what I will do, assuming that I do it, is I will upload video from games that I really want to play. And that's what I'll share. And if there's something that looks kind of interesting and I start playing and it seems okay, you know what? I'm probably not going to do a full series on that. I don't want to burn myself out. I would rather do, less content that I'm happy with and that I feel like I can do over the long haul than force myself to keep playing games because of that obligation to just finish what I started. And so we'll see. It would be way too much to say that I have a plan. I have some thoughts. That's what I have. So, that is currently what I've got in mind. And I think at this point, I have probably covered everything, that I needed to. And so hopefully you will see or hear more from me in the relatively near future. But that's all for now. Thanks for watching. I hope we see you next time.